You shared many stories together.
Calendar was a madhouse. I mean, it was chaos. I remember one of the famous occasion of the elephant. Do you remember, Richard? We were sat in the studio, and Bradford Police were selling off all the police whistles. So I was festooned with about 10,000 police whistles. And we got an elephant, which was a cut-price elephant, which was available from the education department. And the idea was I would blow the whistle and say, in the old days, when you blew the whistle, you could be satisfied a policeman would come. What happens now? Then blow it. And the elephant was supposed to come trot, 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 you see. But as I blew the whistle, I could see this elephant heading backwards towards the door with all the stage hands, pulling it backwards. So I gave a whistle to Richard. He blew. We both blew whistles. The programme opens with these lunatics blowing whistles for what seemed like an eternity. Eventually we gave up. The elephant then decided to come into the studio, where we had a perfectly serious political discussion after that with Barrington Black. And the elephant was then backing towards the discussion, and they began to move their chairs around the table like this. And eventually it finished up with a microphone pointed to it, at which point it began to pee. So
Austin, thank you very much.
Thank you.
It was while working in Leeds in 1973 that you married Candy Watson, but the marriage was short-lived. After more than a decade working non-stop for Yorkshire television, a new opportunity came with the launch of Channel 4. Yours was the first face to appear on the new network with the opening edition of Countdown. It was November the 2nd, 1982.
As the countdown to a brand new channel ends, a brand new countdown begins. This countdown is a quiz game that all of you can play at home, and if you're good with figures, or you figure you're good with letters, well, we think this could be the game for you.
Did you think you had a hit on your hands?
Well, no, there's no way. I mean, the opening day got 8 million viewers because people were looking forward to it and they saw me. And the next day got 350,000, and it stayed about well, it stayed about that.
And you have a fan at Buckingham Palace.
Well, you better tell this.
We were at a rather smart dinner, and we were due to meet Princess Margaret, and Princess Margaret came along and was sort of going, and eventually a colleague who was introducing us said, "This is Richard Whiteley. He does a programme on Channel 4, a quiz programme." "Oh, hello." She said, "What's that?" And he said, "Well, it's on at 4:30, Ma'am, in the afternoon. It's called Countdown." She went, "No, I don't get time to watch the television, but I do believe my sister does, after the Channel 4 racing."
Well, it's funny you should say that, because these days
She's not coming on, is she?
You've just spoiled a lovely surprise. In 1984, Richard Whiteley, the journalist, found himself at the heart of the country's top news story. You were covering the Tory party conference in Brighton. Along with Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher and members of her cabinet, you were in the Grand Hotel when an IRA bomb devastated the building. What are your memories of that?
Well, I remember being at 10 to 3, being about to leave and about to go through the swing doors, and I was going out with somebody to get a taxi back. And the leader of Bradford Council at the time, Ronnie Farley, said, "Richard, have another glass." Well, it was 10 to 3. I said, "No, I'm going. And she said, "Let's stay for a minute." And so that delayed us from going right through the swing doors of the Grand Hotel. And by that 5 seconds, and then the blast happened. I can remember falling to the floor in slow motion. Everything happens in slow motion, as they tell me, in crashes and things. I can imagine, and I remember being on the floor in the very soft carpet, and this is quite genuine, thinking, goodness gracious, Mrs. Thatcher's episode. I thought, actually, I lay on the floor and thought of Mrs. Thatcher. I know it sounds ridiculous, but that's what I did. I genuinely thought of Mrs. Thatcher. If we'd gone through the swing doors, I think all that rubble would have come down on the front as it did. It came down like a wedding cake slice on the front of it. I think it would have been very serious. So those are my memories.
Well, you soon gathered your crew and you sent your eyewitness report back to Yorkshire.
As we came round the front, we saw, already in position, less than 45 seconds, a minute after the blast, the fire engine position, the turntable ladder, ambulances, and the police. And then about 2 minutes later, the black prime ministerial Jaguars swept up with lights flashing. They couldn't get in the front door because that was blocked by fallen masonry from the floors above. So they then went round to the back, and we believe Mrs. Thatcher was then taken away to safety.
That was real frontline reporting. Now, in your personal life, there was new happiness when in 1987 you became a father. Your son James, now aged 9, lives with his mother, TV fashion journalist Leslie Ebbets. You both decided he should be brought up out of the spotlight. Naturally, he knows about tonight's programme and he sends you his love, and he's, I'm sure, a great source of pride to you.
Yes, he is. I mean, he's like me in a way. In fact, he's quite slim, shall I say, at the moment, as I was. But totally unlike me. I mean, he's, as we've heard, I'm no sporting hero. He's a great sport. I mean, he's a great ball control, loves soccer, particularly great goalkeeper, and is a real sporting person, which I am not. I never was. But might be soon. You never know.
Well, wherever your work has taken you, it's your home county that fills you with most pride. But even the proudest Yorkshire folk do wonder. Here's one with a message for you from her home in America, best-selling author Barbara Taylor Bradford.
Hello, Richard. You're a very dear friend, a great friend, and I congratulate you on being honoured tonight. You certainly deserve it. You've had a wonderful career, and you've also done a great deal to promote Yorkshire during your career and on television and everything you've always done, including that column in that Bradford newspaper. Richard, congratulations again, and I hope I see you soon.
Thank you, Barbara. Now, in your time as an interviewer, you've come across many characters, none more outspoken and colourful than the hero of Headingley and England, Fred Truman.
Wow, great hero of mine.
Fantastic hero.
Yeah.
Fred, your last man in.
As usual.
And what would you like to say about this lad?
He came to my house once, up in the Yorkshire Dales where I live, and on the other side of the wall there was a plot of land for sale with a planning permission for a house. And Richard came up, and he was in a pastel sort of suit, straight out of the dummy's window, you know. Absolutely immaculate, as he always is. He even had his shorts made to measure. And he turned up, and of course it was trees and brambles and everything on the other side of the wall. And he walked around and everything. Well, when he came back, he looked worse than that ferret had him, you know. And he was in a right mess, and my daughter said to him, "Why didn't you wear your working clothes?" And he said, "I'm in my working clothes," he said. And great evening for you, Richard. And,
well, Fred, you're my childhood hero, and every Yorkshireman of my
childhood.
No, let's be fair. You're a great hero, everyone of my generation.
We'll have a great night because it comes down to a nice
Thank you very much.
Absolutely nice.
Thank you, Fred.
Thank you.
Something special for our finale, Richard. You've always made time for your old school, and tonight they return the compliment. As the Gilswick Jazz Choir let rip in your honour, it just remains for me to say, Richard Whiteley, this is your life.
Thank you very much.
I got my man, who can ask for anything more?